Okay. Well, Creed. Released in 2015. Directed and written by Ryan Coogler. Didn't you say he did Black Panther?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. The box office was 81,157,671. Rotten Tomatoes, 95%. Probably the highest one.
Yeah.
An audience rating of 89%. I love this movie. I absolutely loved it. I did not think I was going to. When I first heard it, I was like, Creed? Really? And I didn't like the idea. I thought it was just like, for lack of a better term, a cash grab. But I hate using that term with movies because every movie is about money.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's not what I'm trying to think. But once I read about what Ryan Coogler did and why he was doing it, I thought it was, okay, I'll give it a shot. And so this is the second movie I saw in the theater, and I absolutely loved it. And so Creed is about Apollo's illegitimate son, Adonis Creed. He comes to Rocky for training, and Adonis is the opposite of Rocky in that he is taken out of a bad situation at a young age and raised in luxury, but he chooses to be a fighter like his father. So what was interesting about that was that Adonis was the illegitimate son of Apollo Creed. He was not the son of his wife, who we met in the previous movies, who, by the way, is played by Felicia Rashad in this movie, not the original actress, because the original actress passed away. She died in 2011. So I don't know if that would have been.
Didn't know that either.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was the reason why they recasted her, but I'm assuming it had something to do with it. But I don't know if she would have done it or not. Either way, Felicia Rashad is playing the wife this time. Wonderful actress.
Definitely takes a role.
She does a really good job. Because the original, she didn't really have much of a character. You saw her in like 2 movies, but you didn't learn anything about her.
Yeah,
But
it's never progressed.
It doesn't really matter. But that's one reason. That's one little thing is that she passed away this way. Probably why she wasn't. Anywho, not the point. I got a lot of respect for that character in this movie because in the very first scene you see Adonis and he is in juvie. He's in a boys' home or something, and he's in a fight. And she comes in and she like talks to him about who his father is. He doesn't know who his father is. His mother died. He doesn't know who his father is.
He's very defensive.
Very defensive. Doesn't know who she is. She's very, very, very sweet. Very, very sensitive to him. That she's not yelling at him or anything like that. And you think, that she would be angry that he even exists. Because
I don't think she would be angry at him.
Not at him.
It's
Not
not
his
his
fault.
fault.
He's not. Yeah, she's not blaming him. That's what I'm saying. You think she'd be angry? She would like. Why is she even there?
Yeah.
It's my first thought watching it. Why is she even there?
That really shows the heart of her.
It does. So she took him in. She says, "Hey, you're the son of my husband. You're not my son."
The fact that she took him in, illegitimate child,
and she raised him in luxury. She didn't. It wasn't a Cinderella situation where he was being forced to clean or any of that crap. At the beginning, he had a job. He had a high-paying job and just recently got promoted. But that wasn't where he felt he belonged. He had the Creed blood. He needed to be in the ring, and that was an interesting. He made the choice.
Do you think she felt like she owed Apollo?
I don't know.
Like,
I would think that she would be angry.
The fact that she lost Apollo to the ring, but she felt like she owed it to the son to have some kind of upbringing. Like,
I don't see. Maybe, but it was never really addressed.
Yeah.
But for me, that was a very telling moment in her character because she didn't have to. She didn't have to admit it. It wasn't her responsibility.
Yeah, no.
She had nothing to do with it. But that just showed that she was a kind person. That she was really a really good person.
Or maybe she wanted to see more of Apollo.
Maybe because they had their own kids
together.
But I don't know. Maybe she felt bad for the kid because he was alone now.
I think it really came down to that. Like, she felt like he belonged with her.
Maybe. Either way, it was a very cool thing that she raised him.
For sure.
And he explained why Rocky didn't know Adonis existed because he hasn't spoken to her since Apollo's funeral, apparently. Yeah. Which I thought that's kind of a jerk thing. But however, she is in California. He's in Philadelphia.
Yeah. It's just the distance thing.
He kind of had a whole thing of losing all his money.
Yeah.
He
had his own things going on.
Yeah, he had his own problems, getting fighting in the street and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so anyway. So the theme is choice and the meaning of legacy. Because there's a lot of talk about Apollo's legacy. And you're kind of not clear about why... Because Adonis doesn't take Apollo's name, like his last name. He takes his mother's name.
No, he definitely wants to make a name of his own.
He wants to make his name for himself, which is understandable. But at the same time, he always got really upset when people compared him to his father.
Yeah.
And you would think it was because he was like angry at his father for abandoning him or dying or whatever it was. You'd think that he was angry, but turned out at the end, he did not want to disgrace his father. He didn't want to disgrace the legacy. He's like, I could never live up to my father's legacy, so I'm going to start my own. And
Yeah.
do you know what the name that he went through? This is a little side note. Donnie Johnson. Is his last name? His mom's last name was Johnson.
Yeah.
So instead of Adonis, he shortened it to Donnie.
Yeah.
Which I thought was funny because it's like Don Johnson. I kept
I
thinking,
didn't catch that.
I kept thinking, I don't know, I'm just me in my brain. I'm like, is it Don Johnson? Is that what's going by? Donnie Johnson? It's a little different. Anyways, I digress. So, the most interesting thing about this movie to me was Adonis's relationship with Rocky. Because he comes up to Rocky, he literally just drops in on Rocky, and we're back at Adrian's at the
I love that the restaurant came back into play.
Yeah, everything was
They
like Rocky
continued
was
it
still
straight
there.
on.
You see Rocky. You don't see Rocky till like half an hour into the movie.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
It's
not his movie.
his movie, yeah.
It's not his movie. So, but Adonis, you kind of think. I was kind of skeptical to the thing when I first saw it, thinking that Adonis was going to be a dick to Rocky.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm Apollo's kid, or what? I don't know what. I didn't know what to expect.
He definitely has
And
the young cockiness.
He did. He had a
that
young cockiness to
Apollo
him, and this whole thing. And I
passed
thought,
on, obviously.
right. So, but he wasn't like that. He was very, very respectful to Rocky.
Yeah.
And he was very I don't want to say humble. Humble's not the right word, but he was very respectful to Rocky and very knowledgeable of it. And he even started calling Rocky Uncle. Called him
Yeah.
Unc.
Unc.
He called him Unc, which was interesting because I'm like, okay, because he wanted, because Rocky was the father figure he needed. He didn't have a father growing up.
Yeah.
And you have to have a young boy, especially a boy who is into boxing and stuff like that. His father has a legacy like that.
Yeah.
You want to have a father figure, and he found that in Rocky, because he couldn't find anyone to train him. He didn't know how to box at the beginning of the movie. At the very beginning of the movie, he goes into Duke's son's gym. Remember?
Yep.
And even Duke's son, the son of the man who trained his father, would not train him. Which I thought was kind of a dick thing.
It was, yeah.
I didn't understand why he wouldn't train him. I didn't get it, but
Is it because he wasn't going by that name? Like it wasn't known
I
that he
don't-
was his son.
no, he knew he was his son.
Oh, Duke did?
Yeah, I think he did, but I don't know why. It was never really explained why. I think it's because maybe he thought he was stuck up. Maybe he thought he was too cocky or something. Because he was cocky. He did go,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna fight this guy, and he knocks the guy out. He's like, all right, who wants some of
Yeah,
this?
what-
And then this
this
other
time
guy
he
gets
lost
up
the
there
car.
and then beats the crap out of him.
Yeah,
He loses
lost
his car.
the car. Yeah.
So he had a lot to prove, and I maybe just the other guys saw that and didn't want to deal with it. I don't know, but he wouldn't train him, so he went to Philadelphia and found Rocky and said, "Hey, will you train me? What are you doing? Whatever." But they formed a bond because Rocky by this time Paulie had died.
Yeah.
So
Oh man, that continued the sentimental.
that
moments
continued
from
his
Rocky
trail of
Balboa.
loss.
Yeah.
So
That's the thing. It wasn't Rocky's film, but
No.
it continued Rocky's story.
It did. It
like
continued the story.
majorly.
Rocky was now utterly alone. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody, all the characters that we had grown with, and that he had in his life was gone. He
Yeah.
literally had outlived everybody.
Yep.
Because even Duke was dead. by now.
Yeah.
Duke was dead. Paulie was dead. Apollo, Adrian. His son had moved to Vancouver.
Yeah.
So he was literally by himself. He had nobody. He didn't even mention Marie. Who knows what Marie had? She was never like a big thing for him anyway. But
Yeah.
she may have moved or whatever. Who knows? But that's the point. But he was alone. He had nothing. He literally had nothing. Huh?
We didn't even mention that in the other one.
What's that?
Her.
Oh yeah, we didn't mention Marie. Marie was the girl.
Little girl in the first movie.
Yeah, she was in the first movie, and then he met her again in the last movie, and she became like a part. Her son helped him train. And stuff.
Yeah.
But
It was a great.
it was a really good
though.
thing.
We
It
completely
wasn't-
forget.
yeah, we totally forgot about it. It wasn't romantic at all. It was more of a father or daughter relationship, but it was really well done. A lot of people think that she was the love interest, but it really wasn't what it was at all. In fact, there was actually a scene in there where they addressed that. He's like, he's like, my wife is dead, but she's not gone in here, and I can't.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna look. And she's like, oh no, that wasn't even a thought. Anyway, moving forward. Sorry about that. What was I gonna say?
But Paulie was like the final nail in the coffin. Like that
Yeah,
was,
Paulie was that was all he had, and now he is alone. and here comes this kid who's like, oh yeah, I'm Apollo's son, and I want you to train me. And Rocky's like, I don't do that anymore. I hadn't done that in a long time. And the last time it didn't go too well. And
you would definitely feel that he would be bitter about Tommy. So
yeah, you think he would? He never mentioned him.
No.
Rocky doesn't hold.
I think they were trying to stay away from mentioning Rocky 5.
I think the only
Because most people don't
person
like it.
Rocky holds a grudge against would be the Russians. And we're gonna see that again.
That's why I'm looking forward to Creed 2.
But I loved it because he had to teach this kid how to box. The kid knew nothing because he actually said he's like every punch I've thrown on my own.
He was a good brawler. He was raised fighting. He was literally fighting for his life.
Yeah,
like,
all the time.
his whole life.
And Rocky took him under his wing and started teaching him. And I absolutely loved it. I loved seeing Rocky, not just as a trainer, but as a father figure. But this time he could do it. The last time he tried to do it, it resulted in him neglecting his own son. But now he and his son are okay. His son's moved away doing his own thing. But now he has nobody to take care of. Rocky's a caretaker. That's been a constant thing. He's a character. If he has somebody else to fight for, he's got to fight harder.
Yeah.
So
it also feels like Rocky has become like not only the father figure, but you can tell like this film really showed his age.
Yeah,
like,
his wisdom.
Yeah, well, and just the fact that he's grown older.
Oh yeah,
like because this is the first one where he doesn't actually fight. Too.
No, he doesn't fight anybody. He doesn't throw a single punch in the whole movie.
That's one of the major things I noticed was his age showing, but his wisdom at the same time.
Yeah, because he teaches Adonis not just how to fight, but how to think.
Yeah.
I love that. The scene. One of my favorite scenes is when he has him fighting shadow boxing in the mirror. And he's like,
fighting himself.
he's like, who's this guy? This is your biggest opponent. This is you. This is the only one you have to really defeat. He's like, when you punch, what's he doing? He's like, he's punching back. Right. So you need to slip that jab. You need to, the whole.
You see this guy here staring back at you?
Yeah.
That's your toughest opponent. Every time you get into the ring, that's who you're going against. I believe that in boxing, and I do believe that in life. Okay? Now throw a jab in the jaw. All right, one to the gut. Now, every time you punch this guy, what's he doing?
He's throwing one back at me.
That's right. So either you block it, slip it, or get out of the way. So. I'll leave you two alone for a while.
So I loved it. I thought it was great. And I really loved, but the running scene in this one was very unique because he had the motorcycles, right?
Yeah.
Now that happened after. Now Rocky develops cancer in this movie, and we find out that Adrian had died of cancer, and she had gotten the treatment and everything, but they still took her.
He flat out refuses.
And he refuses to at first.
Yeah.
At first, he's like, okay, he's ready to go. I mean, he's like, honestly, I mean, he has Adonis now, but he doesn't think Adonis is going to stay with him. He thinks Adonis is going to use him, not use him and then go, but that Adonis is going forward. He's like, you're the future, kid. I'm the past.
Yeah.
He's like, you don't need me. Go forward, do your thing. I'm ready to go. And Adonis is like, Adonis is losing his father figure now.
Yeah.
He's got a father figure, and he thought that he's never had a father figure before, and Rocky, he can feel that affection that Rocky has for him, that friend, that lack of a better term, that love, that fatherly love for him, and he doesn't want to lose that, and he makes Rocky fight cancer. So Rocky's like, okay, I'll do it for you, kid. And so he's getting chemo and he's training him at the same time.
In the same way that he was, pushing him to be a better fighter, he's actually forcing him to fight as well.
Exactly.
So they're fighting at the same time.
He's
they're
telling him,
fighting
he's like,
another battle.
and he actually looks at him and goes, I'll fight if you fight.
Exactly.
And like, so Rocky's like, okay, I have to fight now.
And that's what makes this film.
It's
to
really
me,
great.
the relationship between him and Rocky really make the film. Like,
It does, exactly. It's about that relationship.
Yeah.
It's not about
If it wasn't for Rocky, I don't think it would have been as good of a
definitely
continuation.
not. It wouldn't have been a continuation.
It's
at all.
those
Right.
interactions that make this film so special.
But Rocky didn't steal the movie.
No,
Was what I liked
no.
about it. He was a major part of it, but it was still Adonis's movie.
Oh, for
and
sure.
That's what I liked about it. It wasn't, hey, look, now Rocky's doing this. It's like, this kid's doing this and Rocky's helping.
Exactly.
But what I loved about the running scene, because you gotta have the running scene. And there's a running scene where he's
Always a training.
There's always a training montage, of course. But there's a running scene. There's these kids that they're he goes to another gym, and there's these kids on motorcycles and everything like that, and Adonis gets them to follow him and this whole thing. And he runs underneath Rocky's window, and and you can't hear what he's saying. You can't hear him. But he's got the kids running around, and he's like, "Come on, run around." And he goes, and you can see his face, his voice, his mouth is saying the word Balboa.
Yeah.
He's like, "Balboa, come on, Balboa," and he's having Rocky come out, and they're celebrating Rocky. He's actually using that to encourage Rocky in the fight. This whole thing. It was really cool. I don't know.
I like that too, but the feeling I was getting from that scene was that it may have been an actual dialogue scene, and then they didn't feel it worked, or it didn't have the power that ultimately did.
Well, it worked the way they
the
put it in the
music
movie.
swelling and everything. Yeah. So they're like, let's just put the music over it to drown it out. And,
Maybe, and it was awesome.
And it worked.
It was a good choice because it was awesome.
It just made me wonder if that originally was a dialogue scene.
It was a good scene, regardless.
Oh yeah.
And Stitch. So
Stitch.
Rocky puts together a team for Adonis, right? And Stitch he's a famous UFC cut man.
Yeah.
And he gets him Stitch in his ring. He called him Stitch. He's like, "Hey, this is Stitch, and this is the whole thing."
Oh yeah, he plays himself.
He plays himself.
Yeah.
And so Adonis has Stitch in his corner, and I just for Gits and Shiggles, after I watched this one, I went back and just started kind of rewatching some of the other movies a little bit, just to kind of get myself ready for this. And I noticed that Stitch was in Rocky Balboa. He actually was in the other guy's ring.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that.
So go back and watch it. He doesn't say anything. He's not pointed out, but he's there. He's in the background. I saw him at the end when they were doing the announcement of who the winner was. And like, hey, there's Stitch right behind the other guy. I think his name was Mason Dixon. Mason the Lion Dixon. He's like, yeah, he's with him. But I thought it was kind of interesting. I don't know if that was an intentional callback, if he was playing the same character.
It could have, I mean, I think they know what they're doing. Like, with all the callbacks, like, they are on point.
Okay, like, for example, in this movie, I got some written down here. This is kind of interesting. The picture of Rocky and his son. There's a scene where Adonis moves into Paulie's room.
Yeah.
And he's got a picture of Rocky and his son, right? Yeah. But that was actually Sage Stallone. That was his actual son in that picture, the one from Rocky V. Yeah. But he was littler in the picture. But that was interesting because he passed away, like I said. So that was kind of interesting that they had. He passed away in 2012. He actually passed away a few years before this movie.
Huh.
So that was Stallone paying homage to his own son in the movie, which was pretty cool. He has the ball back in this movie. Rocky didn't miss this before. In 1 and 2, Rocky always has a little rubber ball.
He did,
and he's walking around, he's bouncing it. And in this movie, it's just like a nervous tick, I guess he had. Like, just kind of kept his hands busy.
Well, and the clothing was back, too.
The clothing had been back since
Creed. Like
Rocky V, he got it back.
Yeah.
When that was his real clothes.
Down to earth,
in
a way.
That hat and the thing that he had, the jacket, really his clothes. Like, first movie he had to have it. I noticed that. Like, he's got the ball back. I just noticed that.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I noticed a big difference between the actors and the boxers' physiques. Because they use real boxers. Again, the guy in this fight, I can't remember his name.
Well, this one definitely became more modern, too. Like,
no, it's definitely more modern. He's fighting the British guy in this one.
Showing the actual physiques of real boxers.
So it was kind of interesting because like Adonis takes off his shirt and he's freaking ripped because he's he's an actor, and then you got the other guy who's a real boxer and he's not wimpy by any stretch of the imagination, but he's not ripped. Yeah. He's got obviously he can box. He's a real boxer, but he's not ripped. He's not tore up like the other guy was. So
I legitimately thought Rocky was going to die.
Yes, no kidding. The ending of this movie, the fight at the end of this movie. If you remember, right before the last round, Rocky gives him the little speech. I can't remember what Rocky said specifically off the top of my head. But what got me for that moment is he said this thing because Adonis' eye was going up. I remember this, and they were like, "How many fingers will hold up?" And they were tapping his neck, and to give him the number. So he's going to go out there fighting. But Rocky says something to him. And then Adonis gets up, and then the theme starts. Dun 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 dun.
Anytime that theme kicks in.
But here's the thing: why that was significant there? Because that moment was the official passing of the torch.
Shouldn't stop this fight with your father. I'm stopping this one now.
Don't. Okay, let me finish. I gotta prove it.
Prove what?
I'm not a mistake.
Look at me. I never got a chance to thank Apollo for helping me out after Mickey died. But it's nothing compared to what you've done. You taught me how to fight again, and I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna fight this thing. But if I fight, I want you to fight too. I want you to go across this ring and knock that son of a bitch down. Can you do it?
Say it. I'm gonna knock that son of a bitch down.
I know you are. You know why? Because you're a Creed, and I love you, kid.
Go on. All right, baby, let's go.
Go get him, Daddy.
Rocky's like, it's yours now. It's your theme song. You go with it, because he goes dun 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 dun, and I'm like, I got to chill. I really did. I was like, oh, I was like, because it meant that he was gonna win the fight, obviously, or at least go the distance.
Yeah.
But that was Rocky passing the torch. That moment was Rocky passing. That was the equivalent to me, the musical equivalent of Star Wars: Return of the Jedi, when Luke, spoilers on Return of the Jedi, when Luke was being shot by the Emperor. And you see Vader looking back and forth. I'm talking about the original version before the no BS was no. The original one, there was no. You knew what was happening because the music. Because before that, Darth Vader's theme was the Imperial March. The dun, 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 dun. But this time, you hear the hero anthem. The hero thing, the dun, 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 playing over Vader.
Yeah.
That was the change. That was him. That was the moment that he became Anakin again. This was the moment that Rocky passed the torch. Was when that theme song started playing. For me, that was the epitome. That was the defining moment of this movie, because that's the moment where Rocky passed the torch and Creed was now our focus. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense.
So I thought it was really cool. See, that's what I noticed about Creed. I love this movie.
Yeah.
Okay. See, so the Rocky theme playing at the end of the movie after Rocky's speech was the official passing of the torch, meaning that Adonis was not only Apollo's legacy, he was also Rocky's.
Yeah.
So Adonis was the actual merging of the legacies. He is not just he is the legacy of the whole thing. So he is now carrying our series. So let's hope he lives up to it.
Do you think that it's going to culminate into some kind of ending in this next one, or do you think they'll continue?
Well, it all depends. I mean, Adonis is going to get some closure.
Yeah.
On we have to.
Well, I think we're going to get some closure on Drago.
Yeah, who knows?
See, and
Does Drago need closure too?
Well, as far as seeing maybe some of his side of the story.
Maybe.
So, and that's what I'm hoping for more out of Creed 2. Like, definitely the continuation of Creed, but seeing the ending to Drago's story is what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, that could be.
Like, that's what I'm hoping for more than the actual continuation of Creed, which is weird. But
No, it's not bad, because we followed. That's part of the story we follow, because we're still continuing Rocky's story.
Yeah.
Through Apollo or through Adonis.
Yeah.
Through Creed. So we'll see. I mean, I'm hoping that we find out more about Drago's life and about what's going on, why he raised his son the way he did.
Exactly. Obviously, there's still some resentment there.
Yeah.
A lot of resentment.
There's still resentment.
Like that is the resentment of ruining his career in a way. Like,
who knows what happened to him after he lost that fight?
I want to find out.
Oh man, I hadn't thought about that.
I hope we find out all of that.
Okay, so.
Anyways, things to look forward to.
Yeah, things to look forward to. So those are our views of the Rocky series. Again, watching these movies again, I think we can both agree that we've got a whole new appreciation for them.
Definitely.
We have seen things we haven't seen before, and absolutely love these movies probably more than I ever have. And that says a lot.
Most definitely.
And we're looking forward to Creed 2. We will do a review of Creed 2 after we see it. We'll probably do spoiler free, and then do spoiler 1.
Yeah.
So just to be fair to you guys. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you later. All right, peace.